First thing you'll see when you launch HomeTrex or Heritage is your welcome screen. Click on the Start button to actually launch the report. That brings up our inspection job details form. I've already entered in some information. This job ID will actually become the file name for this particular inspection. If you want to work in your master template to make modifications that will be permanent, you would just cancel out of this or click on Edit Existing. Click on the OK button, Start New. That takes us into the report. So I'll walk through the controls. You'll see that we have a main control panel. Pretty much everything that you need for creating a report is going to be on your main control panel. The main control panel is divided into groups. We have a job setup group, inspection reports, photo insertion, annotate, library, page tasks, rows, page breaks, file actions, and screen display. Under the job setup, you have the inspection details. That's the form that you've already seen. Inspector details. This is where you can put information about each inspector. Each inspector can have a separate template with information already filled in key areas throughout the report, including the cover page. Select pages. This is where you will choose the pages that will be included in your report. You can turn pages off or on at any time. If we look in this box, we have pages with check marks next to them and highlighted in blue. Those are the pages that are turned on. Those are the pages that appear in this list. If I unselect a page, we'll take this 3 photos plus text page, for example. It disappears from this list. Instead of 42 selected, I have 41 pages selected. Once you've selected your pages, you'll click on Save Current Setting and exit. If I had turned pages off or additional pages on, those pages would also appear on the tabs at the bottom of the screen. And again, you can turn those pages off or on at any time. You could be in the middle of a report and decide that you need an additional page. Let's say a bedrooms page that you have turned off, you can turn on, for example, or bathrooms page or something like that. Home is just a quick way to jump back to the cover page. That's the page that we have on the screen now. And then go to Start. That takes you back to that initial welcome screen. The next group is the inspection reports. This is going to be a little bit different depending on whether you are working in Heritage or HomeTrex. Heritage has a much longer list of predefined templates under the group, under the inspection reports drop down. My report refers to the report that we defined using select pages. Every time you open the report software, it will always open by default to your standard report, or in other words, my report. At any time you want to go back to that, if let's say you're looking at different pages or looking at different templates and so on, and you just want to go back to your standard report as you've already defined it, you would just click on my report. It'll bring up the list. Again, I have 42 pages selected now, and I'll just exit out of this because I'm confirming that that's what I want to do. For purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to focus on the HomeTrex report. If I click on the HomeTrex, you'll see that it generates a second tab. When I click on the HomeTrex report, you see now that I have all of my HomeTrex sections. Again, in groups, I have an information group, the property information summary page, an intro page which is optional, exterior group, structural, interior group, mechanical systems group, and ancillary group. And this makes for easy navigation. I can jump around. As you see, I just went to the foundation. I can jump to bedrooms, bedroom 2, water heater, job order form, invoice, and so on. So when you're in the HomeTrex report, you can navigate by way of these buttons, or you can go down to the bottom of your screen and your pages will appear in the order that you have them in your report. But let's return to the main control panel. There's also a 4-point inspection report. I'll just look at this briefly. If we come down to the bottom of the screen, you'll see we have a 4-point. That includes the roof, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and then additional information. These sections, incidentally, are all expandable, and there's a general information page just as there is with the main report, summary, and of course cover. We also have in the HomeTrex the legacy page set. It has been modified. If you've been using Excel Pro Legacy or one of our reports that use the legacy page set, you'll see that it's been updated. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the legacy page set in this video. I cover the legacy report in more detail in another video. But you do have some features in the new HomeTrex in the legacy report that you did not have before, such as the ability to put the photos along the bottom, have them automatically sized and positioned for you, things of that nature. As I said, for purposes of this video, I want to focus on the controls and stay primarily within the HomeTrex report. So I'll switch back to the HomeTrex report. Under page sets, we have photo album pages, ancillary, invoice, job order, page templates. That's for creating entirely new pages. Indices, which are index pages for various types of reports. And then all pages. If I select all pages, that shows us everything that's available to us in HomeTrex. If I scroll, you'll see across the bottom of the screen I have quite a few different things available to me in addition to the basic report pages. When I select page sets, this does not change the report that I'm working in. This only displays different pages. So if I wanted to look to see what I have available to me and I want to turn one of those pages on, I would go back to select pages to turn that page on. If I want to just go back to the report that I'm actually working in, again, I go back to my report, just confirming I want these 42 pages, exit, and I'm back to the 42 pages that I previously had turned on. Navigation does a couple of things for us. We can jump to sections in the report. We can create a table of contents. Once we've generated it, will also serve as a navigation tool. If I create table of contents, you'll see that it takes a few seconds to generate the table of contents. Now I have a list of all of the pages that I have in the report. I can jump to any one of these pages simply by selecting it from my table of contents. Now if I actually want to include the table of contents in the report, I have to go back to select pages. It will now appear in the list as TOC for table of contents. You'll see that it's unchecked. I'll put a check mark next to it. It appears in our list. We now have 43 pages selected. We'll save the current setting and exit. So now we have the table of contents will actually be part of our report. It's always going to, by default, be right behind your cover. And then we have the admin tabs, on and off. Off by default. If I turn it on, you'll see that I now have these additional tabs. Advanced annotation. If you're going to put a logo in your report on your cover page, for example, you'd want to use your photo, your advanced annotation photo or graphic. This brings it in at its native size. It doesn't resize the graphic for you the way it would photos under your main control panel. You have a report layout. Again, you're going to more likely use this only when you're working in creating a new template or doing extensive modifications to a template. Otherwise, these things are all preset for you. Formatting, again, you can change if you wanted to change your typeface, for example. If I come down to my company name, which automatically appears for me, I can change colors, fonts, those types of things. I can do that either by right-clicking or by selecting under the Formatting tab. And obviously you have a lot more options under the Formatting tab than you have by just simply right-clicking. Review. There are some parts of the report that are protected or locked for your protection so that you don't inadvertently overwrite something that you would not want to overwrite. So if you encounter one of those sections but you do want to in fact change that section for whatever reason and you need to unlock it, you'll come over to your Review tab. It'll show that it's locked. If I show that this is locked, for example, it now says unprotect this sheet, so I unprotect. So if you encounter something that needs to be unlocked, that's where you do it. Review, and then under Changes, unprotect. And then the final tab is Admin. There are a few things here that you wouldn't use very often if you're doing extensive modifications to your library. Again, I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail about the library in this video because I cover the library and the category assignment tool in great detail in other videos. If you needed to change your company name, those types of things, say you went from being incorporated to LLC or something along those lines, you go into the Edit Name and Details, Terms and Conditions, visit thebestinspectors.net website, the online help. If you want to export as an XLSX file, in other words an Excel file, you can export a report. This is actually a duplicate of a tab that's on your main control panel, which we'll see in a few minutes. And then there's a library export should you need to export your entire library of comments. For now, I'm going to go back and turn the admin tabs off. We don't need those at this point. I do want to show you the contextual tabs, but to demonstrate the contextual tabs, first I want to have a photo. So I'm going to take these placeholders off of the cover page. These just are placeholders to show you that you have space allocated for a logo and for a picture of the home that you've inspected, or if you just want to permanently have a large logo in the center of the page or something like that. For my purposes, I'm going to grab a photo to put on the cover just as I would if I were inspecting a house. To do that, I'll select Large Photo. Large Photo will automatically size and position the photo for me in that position. I'll just grab a photo here and you'll see that it sizes and positions the photo for me. Now let's go back to our navigation and select Show Contextual Tabs. If I now click on my photo, you'll notice that I have a new tab pops up, says Format, and above that it says Picture Tools. If I click on this, I have options for a variety of different things that I can do. I could put a frame around the picture, I could change the shape of the picture. If I hover over these, and if you look at the photo, you'll see that the changes are being made. So I can preview it. I can also change the photo. I can correct color, brightness, contrast. You'll see that my photo appears. If I hover over each of these, you'll see that the photo changes, so I can preview what it's going to do. This photo is basically pretty good, but I'll just grab something here just to demonstrate. So I've changed it. I put a border, and I've changed the brightness or contrast a little bit. That's what the contextual tabs do. Again, if I click away from the photo, that tab disappears. That's why it's called a contextual tab. The tabs appear based on what you're doing. If I go back and click on the photo, again, Picture Tools, Format comes on. Click off, it disappears. Now if I go to contextual tabs off, or hide contextual tabs I should say, you'll see that when I click on the photo, that tab does not appear. So if you don't want that tab turning off and on and presenting you with all these different options, which you routinely probably would not want, you'll just leave the contextual tabs hidden. If you want to turn them on, you can turn them on and leave them on permanently as well. But that's done here. Show or hide contextual tabs, and again, admin off and on. The photos, we've already discussed the large photo. Large photo automatically sizes and positions for the cover. Left and right photo, left, middle, right. Well, for those, let's go into one of the report pages. Each section of the report is expandable. It starts out, it'll fit nicely on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. There's a little bit of room for expansion, so if you're only putting an extra couple of lines, it'll still fit on that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and it'll look good. If, however, you have photos that you want to insert and additional narratives and so on that don't fit in these spaces that are allocated, the pages will expand and each new page will have the heading for that section. So if we're in the roof section, if we expand into 2 pages or 3 pages, each of those 3 roof pages will have the heading for us. The first thing I want to do is, I already know, for example, that I have taken 3 or 4 pictures of the roof, and I'm just going to use dummy pictures, but just to illustrate how this works, I want to insert a couple of rows. So now I've inserted some rows, and in those rows I can put photos or I can put narratives. If I put a narrative, I can select from the drop down. I can select from our global search, which we'll come back to in a few minutes, or I can simply type something in. For my purposes now, I just want to work with photos. So I'll grab a photo. I'm going to do a left and a right photo. And again, I'm just grabbing stuff at random here. And then I'm going to come down, I'm going to skip a line so that I could put some text in between. And I'll do another left and right photo. You'll see that the photos automatically size and position for me so that they're perfectly aligned horizontally and vertically. And I can continue to add as many as I want. If I had more photos, I could just add whatever number of rows I need and continue to add photos. So you can see that the section is just going to continue to expand, and again, when I create my final output, whether it's a PDF or print it to a printer, I can preview my page breaks. I'll come back to that as we continue on with the controls. But then each section, or each page I should say, will have the section heading at the top of the page. So let's go back to the controls. We've covered the reports, the page sets, the navigations, the inserting photos. The left, middle, right photos you would use typically on the legacy pages. At the bottom you have the full width, so you've got more room to put a left, middle, right. When you're working in the HomeTrex page set, you're typically going to work with left and right, and then of course, as I mentioned, large photo for the cover. Now if I want to annotate photos, I have options for black, red, and yellow. You'll see that black arrow may not show up as well. It depends on the background that you're working with, so perhaps I would select yellow arrow instead, and you just drag these into place. I can put these anywhere I want. You'll notice that the yellow arrow is slightly thicker just so that it shows up a little bit better. I can grab the end, rotate, I can drag it, and so on. If I wanted to make the arrow thicker or thinner, I could do that as well just by right clicking. I'll select the line style. Here I'm just making the arrow thicker. So if I really had a need for a bigger arrow, perhaps because of background not being very visible or something like that, I could do that. But by default, they'll come in at a set thickness and size, a length for you, and then you can edit them as needed. You have the option also of a text box. You can put a text box right on top of a photo. You can type a comment directly into the text box and then size it, and you could of course have this pointing to something. I'll just borrow this arrow for now, for example, like this. So lots of options for annotation. The last item under this section is summary. If I have a comment that I want to place in my summary, I'll just come down here. I have a comment on the roof, approximately 5 years life remaining with maintenance. I want that to go into the summary. I just tag it, we say OK, and it takes us right back to where we came from. Let's say I have a second comment. I want that also to be in the summary. Click summary, asks us where we want it. I put the cursor, I select OK, and it takes us back to where we came from. If I go over to the summary page, I'll just click on the summary tab, you'll see there are my comments. So you build your summary as you go. You have complete control over what goes into your summary. You also have the option, if you wanted to put subheadings. Again, I'll insert a couple of rows, and I will highlight a few of these rows. I'll come up here to checkbox, I'll click checkbox, and you'll see that what it does is it generates checkboxes in the report, and then we would just edit the text in each of these. I mentioned earlier that there are different ways that you can retrieve comments from your library to insert into the report. The drop downs we just looked at, where you just click on the downward pointing triangle, you select from your comments. You can of course type directly in the field, or you can use the global search and retrieval, which is for many things is going to be your fastest, most efficient way to retrieve a comment. So for example, I want to recommend further evaluation by an expert. I'll just type in further evaluation. I don't need to know the first word or the first few letters or characters of the narrative. I just need to know one or two keywords or key phrase. I search. You'll see that I have a variety of options here, but I'm looking for specifically something about further evaluation being needed because I saw water stains. So I'll double click on this and it will automatically put that comment in place for me. Now you'll notice that it also expanded that field to accommodate that comment. Where it was just one line, it expanded it so that it would accommodate the text. Had that text been longer, it would have expanded the field as much as necessary. The next thing we have is page tasks. We talked about unlock page tab earlier. Move pages. Again, this would unlock it so that you could move the pages specifically. You could drag the pages from one location to another. If you wanted to delete a page, you could delete a page. I recommend that rather than delete pages, if it's a page that's built into the software, that you only turn off the page and you simply go to select pages, uncheck the page, and then it's no longer part of the report. And then if you want to protect a page, insert row. You've seen me do this a couple of times already. I've inserted some rows. Delete row, it's the same thing, only in reverse. If you want to manually adjust the row heights, you can do that as well. Row heights are automatically adjusted to accommodate large blocks of text, photos, and things of that nature. But sometimes, just for purposes of style, if nothing else, you might want to manually adjust a row height. You can do an auto fit, which is, in this case, it's already auto fit, so it didn't do anything. I can say auto fit plus 6 points, makes it slightly taller, gives me a little bit of white space, makes it a little bit more readable. I could do auto fit plus 10 points. Again, just a little bit more white space. Sometimes it makes a report a little bit more readable to have some additional white space. If I want to manually size it, you'll see that as I'm selecting these, you'll notice that this number changes in this box. So if I go to auto fit, it goes to 18. Auto fit plus 6 is 24. Auto fit plus 10 is 28. I also have the option of just simply scrolling up or down. I can make the row height whatever I want it to be, or I can just I could just type a number in and press enter. So you can manually adjust your row heights if you choose to. Paragraph, this function is if we had, let's say, multiple comments, I'll come over to a new section, I'll insert a couple of rows. Now let's say I have comment 1, comment 2, comment 3. I'll highlight all 3 comments. I'll come up to my paragraph function. I'll click paragraph, and I'm going to reformat those comments into a paragraph. If I had longer sentences, of course, the row height would expand to accommodate the text. But this way you can take individual comments, bullet points, and so on, format them into a paragraph. If I want to hide or show rows, I can do that. Rather than delete rows, let's say I finished the report, I have a lot of white space, I have some sections where I had very little to say, a little bit too much white space for my taste. I simply highlight the rows that I want to hide, come up and hide the rows. They're not in the report. Even if there's text in those rows, if they're hidden, they don't appear in the report. If I want to show those, I just, again, reverse the process. I come up and show. Page breaks. If I want to preview where my page breaks are going to fall, this is just for one section. As I mentioned, the heading is going to appear at the top of each section. This just shows me where the break will occur. Here, for example, I don't want that break to appear right there. I want that to start with the section heading. So I'll just hold down my left mouse button and drag it up. So now I'm going to have 2 approximately even length pages. Both will have the heading for roof and so on, and with our legend at the top also. I'll go back to the normal view, and I'm back into the view that I would work in. File actions, pretty much what it says. I can save, I can close, I can do save as if I want to change the file name for any reason. I could give it a template name. I can print the report, I can create a PDF of the report, or I can archive the report. Now, archive is essentially the same as on the admin tab where we export to an SLSX file, which is an Excel file. So if you want to archive your report as a compact Microsoft Excel file, you use the archive function. The screen display, shift to page left to right for viewing comfort, and you also have precision zoom where you can, again, for viewing comfort, zoom in or zoom out, and then the standard zoom gives you fixed zoom points, or you can type in a number if you already know that you want to go to 125%, for example. So that's a brief overview of the HomeTrex 14 inspection report, the controls. For detailed information regarding individual features such as the category assignment tool, working in your library, those types of things, there are individual videos that go in depth. This has just been a brief overview to introduce you to the controls and the basic concepts in report writing using HomeTrex and Heritage. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.